There have been countless times where a friend has called me up and all they wanted to do is to just rant. Now, I would always feel so guilty that in situations like that, I wanted to say something. And I just didn't know what to say. And it really bothered me for many, many, many years. It really bothered me because I felt for that 10 minutes that I didn't say something, that I had to. But little did I know that I didn't actually have to. And the reason I share this story to start off with is because sometimes you don't need to say anything. Sometimes all you need to do is be present. Just be there. And that's all it takes sometimes. I didn't fully acknowledge that this was the case until about a month ago, where a mentor of mine, I brought up this situation that I was in. One of my mates called me. They just wanted to rant. And I felt so terrible because the situation they were in, it was so difficult and frustrating and harsh. And it was just a terrible situation to be in. And I didn't know what to say. So what ended up happening was one of my mates spoke for 10 minutes and I just sat there. I was just sitting there looking at it. And for a week, 2 weeks after that, it was really getting on my nerves that I didn't say anything. And it took me a whole 10 minutes to finally say something. And say something meaningful and useful in that situation to make them feel better. And it's only when I spoke to my mentor that I realized you don't always need to say something. There have been countless times, for example, when I'm playing soccer, when I'm playing with my team, it is so important that I do say something. That if I notice one of my players has done something that they could improve, I point it out. Or if they do something good, I point it out. And that is incredibly important in that situation, because if you don't point it out, they won't know. And that's the reality of things. But then on the other side of the spectrum, if someone is feeling terrible and they don't feel great and they're in a situation, sometimes just being there and not saying anything is exactly what is best for them. Now, it must have been a week and a half after a situation happened with one of my close friends, I asked them, you know, when we called the other day and X, Y, and Z happened, and I didn't speak for the first 10 minutes, I just wanted to apologize, to say, I'm sorry, I really think I could have dealt with that better. And they stopped me there and said, no. You just being there and just listening, sitting there with me in silence, even though we weren't directly in the same place, it was just on FaceTime, just you being there made me feel calm, made me feel relaxed, and I felt a sense of safety. And it took me a while to really process what those words actually meant. And they likened me to being an emotional stress ball. And purely by me being there, even though I wasn't there, but I was still there virtually, they calmed down and they had relaxed. And I think that is something that everyone can take into consideration when trying to improve their emotional intelligence. There will be situations where you need to speak up and be bold enough to speak your mind, say what you're thinking, to motivate or to get a point across. And at the same time, there will be other situations where silence and purely just being there for someone else is the only thing that you need to do. I hope you've been able to learn something from this video and you've started to acknowledge that, yeah, you know what? I can be silent and still be just as useful. Or I can talk and motivate and lead and still be just as useful. Because emotional intelligence is dynamic. It helps people in any situation. And that is a perfect way to improve your connection and how you feel around others. And also how you feel about yourself. So if you take one thing from this video, know that there will be situations where talking the most and not talking at all provide so much importance to strengthening that relationship with those other people, as well as making that situation and making the world a better place. Change starts with you.